Sold the World is a short, her second short that's playing this weekend. And it's truly an international short because it was shot totally in California. How'd that happen? And I'd also like to know what worked and what didn't work. And same with you other two, if you think of advice to give to filmmakers, sort of, you know, what would you do again the same way and what would you not do? Like that kind of advice.
I decided to, well, I met a woman who I'd worked with, I crewed with her on another film. We kind of hit it off, and I approached her about co-producing a short script that I had. And so I was, you know, I wanted to shoot it in a bigger city because it's really hard to cheat Fredericton is a big city. Nothing's over 6 stories. And so I was thinking, no, like maybe we can shoot it in Montreal. Like my mom was in Montreal, you know, like sleep there. And she was born and raised in Los Angeles, and she lived there. And she was like, oh no, we should just do it in Los Angeles. And I was like, all right. So then that's what we planned to do, and we just basically saved money for 8 months until we had enough to do it, or what we thought would be enough to do it. And we went down, and I'd say I definitely could go over a ton of things I did wrong on that film. But it's really, SAG is really scary. If you've never worked with SAG, they're like,
what that is.
so the Screen Actors Guild is it's like the American equivalent of ACTRA. I've worked with ACTRA before, and ACTRA was really lovely and friendly, you know, like very, very Canadian. SAG scared the crap out of me. They were just very like business oriented, you know, and not as lovely on the phone as. And I was really naive with a lot of things. I remember I'd gone down a few months before we shot to try and scout locations and get our actors in place. And the one location that we couldn't find when I was down there was a church. And I remember thinking, like, oh, that'll be a piece of cake. Like, we got a church in Fredericton. We just called them and we were like, hey, like, can we shoot in your church? And they're like, yeah, come on down. Do you need someone to play the organ? Like, they were really great. And then you go to Los Angeles and, you know, like with 2 weeks before you film, and you find out that every church in the city has an agent and it costs thousands of dollars to be in for half a day. And you're just like, yes, sir. Well, East Coast. So we didn't film that scene, and then I got married this summer, and we knew we had to go back and finish this scene one way or the other because the actors were all down there, and we travel a lot cheaper than they do. So we went back to California for our honeymoon to finish this film. And yeah, no, it was awesome though. And we didn't get a church, still didn't have $7,000, but we came up with, I'd like to think, a clever alternative. So if you see the film tomorrow, there is no church, but I'm sure you'll recognize what scene should have taken place in the church. Or could have taken place in a church.
SAG, but so here you are, a Canadian working in the U.S. Was there anything else that got in the way of that cross-border filmmaking?
No. It was really, yeah, maybe. It was, through SAG, I think we used to have the ultra low budget film agreement through ACTRA. I don't know if we still have it, but they have an equivalent of that, so everyone was working on deferral, so there was no money, and when there's no money, they don't really care that much. And, you know, as long as you have your paper in order and everything is signed and everything like that, it was fine, but the only thing really, and luckily I had a good partnership so this never came back, but I did have to make it officially sign over ownership to the American producer because I am not American. But I mean, we know who else.
One more question, which is Rhonda's Party got into, it played at least on Air Canada, the en route program. How did you get your movie into airplanes, and did it affect its life?
There's two different ways to get your film on Air Canada. One is for Air Canada just to buy it, to play on flights, in which case there's just one person who programs, Felicia, and she doesn't deal directly with filmmakers. She only deals with distributors, so you have to be signed with a distributor, someone like WIFT Media, in order for that negotiation to happen. So if you want to get your film on those flights, yes, you'd have to have a sales rep. The other way, which seems to be a lot the way that most films I think are getting on there actually these days. I don't know how many short films she's buying, especially Canadian ones, in and of themselves, but the main way is to be a part of the Air Canada En Route Film Festival, which used to be just a student film festival, but in recent years has opened it up to just emerging filmmakers. So yeah, we applied to run this party, and they might select 20 films, and they play maybe 5 of them at a time for 4 months, and over the course of a year they play maybe 20 Canadian short films. And they put together a jury that's always incredible every year. It's just like the year our film played, it was Adam Agoyan, Jean-Marc Vallée, Molly Parker, just incredible people who see your film. And we ended up being in the awards finalists. So they flew us to Toronto, we had lunch with Adam Agoyan, and then we ended up winning the award and the prizes. Yeah, my friend won it in the first few years when of its existence, and she won a car, and she lived off of that money for like 3 years writing a feature film. So yeah, it's a really, and tons of people see it. Yeah, tons of people send me messages saying, I saw your film on Air Canada flights. We're really surprised by how many people watch the short films. Yeah, so again, that's a really, if you're a Canadian filmmaker, definitely check out the En Route Film Festival. It's a great way to have your film seen and also potentially win some really great awards to further your career.
Why would a successful woman in theater make the switch to video and film?
Well, she turned 40, and all that work that I did, so the 100 credits is actually spread over theater, film, radio, basically, and it's all as an actor. But it's amazing how much changes actually after you turn 40 as a woman actor, and the parts really dry up a lot. Like, I've done a few shows since then, but not that much. And I've actually done some great short films since I turned 40. And it was kind of a weird tipping of the scales, actually. I did a lot of theater as a younger woman, and after I turned 40 was when I started getting really great short film roles. I did a few, features and some TV stuff, in those 20 years, 15, 20 years, whatever it was before that. And they were fine and everything, but nowhere near as interesting and challenging as the short films were, quite frankly. And so I started seeing, I worked mostly as an actress, but I also did a fair bit of writing too, because if you're living in Newfoundland and you only want to work in the arts, which I did, I never had to take a job doing anything else really. It means sometimes you have to create your own work, so I was writing a lot. I directed a bit. I didn't love directing theater so much because it meant I was also designing sets and costumes and everything else. And that wasn't really my bag. I had experience in all that stuff, but I didn't want to do everything. So I just kind of moved towards short films, on my way, hopefully, to directing a feature. But I found that the opportunities, surprisingly, were much more plentiful. And I know that probably sounds kind of crazy, but I'm based in St. John's, and the Women's Film Festival, which is now 23 years old, has been incredibly successful in showing us that we can do everything. Like, we can write, we can direct, we can produce, and if you go to a room there, it's pretty much equal, if not more so, tipped towards women being in the room as filmmakers. Not so much in crew, you're right about that, Gretchen. The crew, there's still lots of positions that women aren't working in, but certainly above the line, it's a different situation in Newfoundland, and a lot of that is completely, I think, credited to that film festival. And there are very few of them in the world, which is really sad. but it works. It's been, I guess what it did, I moved to St. John's. I was from a small place in Newfoundland, but I moved to St. John's right after I graduated from theatre school in 91, I think it was. And the festival had started the year before, so I've actually been to 22 women's film festivals, and so I've seen a lot of films, a lot of great features, a lot of great shorts. Then the Nickel came along. I actually worked, I ran the Nickel Theatre, Nickel Film Festival for 4 years. And so I got to see tons and tons of films, and I didn't see why I couldn't get into that industry. So I started writing, and the first short I made with $7,000. And then the next one I wrote, but I did not want to direct it. I felt it was too far beyond me. And it was called Sweet Pickle. I don't know if anyone's seen that. That is online, because it got chosen as part of the NSI Online Festival. And my friend Lois Brown directed that. And she was very generous to me, because she said, well, I'll direct it so that you're going to direct your next one. And so she let me in on everything. And I went to all the meetings. I doubt there was a production meeting that happened without me, even though I was just the writer, you know, and the writers get left behind a lot of times. And it was through the Picture Start program, which is similar to Film 5 in Nova Scotia. So after that, that's when I said, okay, you're right, Lois, I'm going to direct the next one. And the next one is 2 Square Feet, which is the one you're going to see tomorrow. So that's sort of how I entered the industry. And I've been very, very lucky. I got lots of great support around me, and I've been, you know, winning an award is a great thing. You kind of you almost have to win an award in order to get the next film done. That's what it feels like. And so 2 Square Feet meant, well, I don't know if it meant, but I did just win the Linda Joy Award, and then I got chosen for Picture Start. So one has led to the other. And it's sort of a little bit of a steamroller effect, I guess, right? You just kind of keep going. So if you want to make films, apply to competitions would be my best advice. Not just film festivals, but apply to whatever competition you can find out there.